here's something that I came across the other day that just made me think, right? And it's something, if you actually sit and look at things like social media online and Instagram and things, it just made me think, and I thought, wow. And it was just a very short sentence. You know, you can get like memes. I sort of send them out myself, and it basically said, beware of spiritual... I can't remember exactly the wording, and I wish I'd saved it, but it was saying beware of... Basically, it was saying beware of people that use the word spiritual healing or spiritual guru of some sort, you know, in their marketing. And I thought that immediately reminded me of the saying about beware of false prophets, and I think that's where it was coming from. So it was quite interesting how that got me to start thinking, not in a suspicious way, but it got me thinking that I have noticed, and I go a lot by my gut feeling and my intuition about people and about businesses and about things that I see on the internet and experiences I have and physical connections, face-to-face connections with people, right? So I get an initial gut feeling first, and if I feel uneasy about something, or something just doesn't appear to be, you know, very congruent with me, it sets up a sort of a red flag warning. And I then start thinking, this doesn't seem right. So when you start delving down into somebody's social media account, for instance, you then start seeing that it's all surface. They're using the label of spirituality or whatever to push their business. Okay, and I have mentioned this before in, you know, different videos, where you kind of start to get interested in what somebody is saying about something, or you see a video of theirs or a post of theirs and you think, oh, that's quite interesting. But then when you dig deeper, you then begin to see that actually they're just using it as a marketing thing. They're using it as a selling front, you know, a kind of it's a front to their product range or something, you know. And then you also find out that they're not kind of a 100%, you know, whatever it is they're pushing or they're marketing, and this is another red flag to me, that whatever it is they're marketing or, you know, they're advertising, as it were, sometimes these people are very good at sales, right? When you dig a little bit deeper under the surface of something, you then begin to see the reality, whereby this is only a very small part of their life or their career, or do you know what, I don't know whether I'm really saying it. In fact, I don't even know whether I'll post this video, to be honest. But it's been playing on my mind for about a week now, when I saw that, and it just made me think, because it also makes you look at yourself. You then start to sort of look at yourself and think, how am I selling myself to the public, externally? I think I've been selling myself pretty much consistently, as in the message I'm giving in what I provide. I'm a psychotherapist, a hypnotherapist, and a Reiki practitioner. There are a lot of other things that I do which, you know, are not that well, they are important. They're important to the people I do them for, but they're not kind of, if you like, my mainstream business and services that I provide. And anyone who knows me, right, and if you've seen any of my videos, I'm a pretty down to earth, straightforward, straight talking kind of person. Okay, so I'm not a fluffy salesperson that dresses up in, sexy clothes and advertises what appears to be their body rather than what they're actually really trying to do, which is the point I'm trying to make. You see a lot of this, unfortunately, everywhere, where you think, is it really necessary? Is it really necessary to dress up evocatively to sell your spiritual products or your spiritual services? And when you really look, you see it a lot. You do see it a lot, and I understand this is probably going to be controversial because, people think, oh, well, you must look your best and all the rest of it. But yeah, okay, I do understand that. He says while walking in the woods, unshaven for today. But to me, I always find it comes down to how genuine the person is, really, how genuine their content is and the background. Yeah, are you looking at somebody who on the surface looks like, everything's coming together, but at the end of the day, all they're doing is they're selling products, or they're selling courses, or they're selling whatever. Of course, the big thing now is, you produce a little bit of digital media and such like on Canva, and all of a sudden you become a millionaire overnight. I mean, that's not, in my opinion, that isn't really, if that's what you want to do, and then sell yourself as some high-flying guru type spiritual person, then fine. I don't know. It also leads me on to what I've also had a gut feeling about, actually, all of my life. Okay, all of my life. I could talk about this for hours, but sitting in a room with 200 other people, and you're there to try and learn something as deep and meaningful as, how to alter your life or how to change things in your life. I'm not convinced that really ever works. And I also have a question about the person's authenticity, about having that many people pay, let's say you have 200 people in a room and you're listening to, some guru type person talking about things. That's a vast amount of money. What's the driving force behind that, really? Are you really interested in changing 200 people's lives? Or is it a numbers game? Are you just doing it for the money? I think a lot of the time it's just for the money, personally, because I can't see how you can have any individual changes made to yourself while you're in a room. I don't know, maybe it's just me, I dare say if anyone's ever going to comment, they'll probably will say it's just me. Oh, well, that's just the way you think. Maybe people do go to these events and feel like they've had something. I've never heard of anyone having a life-changing experience while they're sitting in a room of 200 people. I found it quite interesting. I don't know, is it just me? When I did all my psychotherapy training, I was blessed to be in a very small group. When I went to Cranfield University initially back in 1999, the group was intentionally small. I think it was I can't remember, to be honest with you, but I know it was not a huge amount of people. It was certainly less than 20 people, I think. But that course was, that sort of psychology course was pretty intense, and we had individual intuition, tuition and such like. So it had been organised, because it was part of the university. It had been organised really, really well, and it was mind-blowing. It was absolutely amazing. But on the flip side of that, I have also been to the University of London at on several things, right, where you're sitting in a room with vast amounts of people. And even in other parts of my career in the past, like photography and IT and stuff, I sat in massive rooms of 200 people odd, and you come out of there and you think, all I've done is just listen to somebody who you probably can't even see at the end of the hall, talking about whatever the subjects were. I mean, I can't remember now, but you didn't actually take anything away from them. You didn't feel like you'd actually got something that was worth anything from it, and yet you paid a fairly substantial amount of money to attend a course that you didn't really get much out of. And so I don't think this video is directly related to people on spiritual path, healing, life, psychological, that kind of journey. I think it applies to pretty much anywhere. But I think when you're dealing with the spiritual side of a person's life, sitting in a room with a whole mixed bag of other people, and with all those different energies and such like going on, I know for me it doesn't work. It doesn't work. And yet people pay huge amounts of money to go on some of these courses, and it just makes me wonder, how much do people come out of there with? Are they absolutely happy with how much they took away from it, how much they learnt from it, how much they were able to apply what they'd been listening to or had learnt to their career, to their life? I don't know. I'm not so sure you can. And the other thing that I always find quite fascinating, is people go on these courses, right? And I've, again, throughout my life and career, I've come across people who just keep going on courses, right? It seems like their whole life is about going on courses all the time. And you again, it just makes me think, how much are these people learning? How much are they learning by consistently going on courses all the time? Surely it's better to be a specialist in a few things than a generalist in a lot of things, especially if you're working with people's spiritual energy, and physical energies. You don't really want to be a generalist. You want to be a specialist in those areas. So, in effect, going back to my own set of skills, which is why I just focus on, 3 things: psychotherapy, hypnotherapy, and Reiki. I don't know. Another ramble, really. It's another ramble on a forest walk. Now, touching on, if anyone is watching this to the end, this is exactly what I keep saying about social interactivity with other people. Okay, because I've had to come out here I'm solo, walking around, talking to a camera, talking to you if you're still watching. Wouldn't it be brilliant if you could talk about subjects like this face to face with a group of other people, like-minded or even not like-minded, to get that social interaction going. And that's what I was saying in my other videos about, why it's so hard to socialise with people. I was actually talking about this very subject with someone else during the week, where the conversation went along the lines of people are just locked up in their houses all the time. Okay, we know why that kind of is now the case for a lot of people, but even before those world events, people were pretty isolated. I mean, I've been trying to connect face-to-face socially with people for at least a decade, more than a decade, probably about 15 to 16 years. And it seems to be a thing of the past. It truly does seem to be a thing of the past. I just don't really understand why people seem to think it's very odd when somebody says, oh, fancy going out for a walk? Go for a walk through the woods, have a chat, or meet up somewhere for a drink, go to a coffee shop, for a couple of hours, have a chat. People don't want to do it for some reason. I don't know whether it can't be because people are shy. I don't believe that everyone in the world is shy. But I do think it's a social anxiety thing. I don't know. I really don't know. Something is it needs to change. I think it needs to change, really. I find it kind of odd, although I have always done this for decades now. I've been, talking to people via videos, mainly because I can't ever seem to get anyone, and I wouldn't actually stop doing these videos, but it would be much better to have social interaction with people face to face. Whether that will ever happen or not, I don't really know. As the years go by, it seems to be a less and less prospective kind of thing that's going to happen, really. Anyway, I'm going to stop waffling. If you have made it this far, thank you. You're watching my videos, my rambles, and just watch out for false prophets. Just be aware that not everyone is who they seem, and not everyone has the best intentions for their audience. The pressure of social media and such like changes people. I've seen it time and time again. I've seen it, and it changes people, because then they're being driven by the need to keep selling something in order to keep their audience interested and to keep their numbers up. And of course that's how they start to make money, and and the more products they can sell, the more money they can make. But the reality is they're not really, I don't know, I'm not going to say it, I won't say it because I think it's just too controversial, really. But just be aware that not everything is what it seems on the surface sometimes with people, and there is a lot of it about. It's not like there's just one or two people on these social media platforms. There are thousands of them, and you have to be very, very careful about what these people's motives are. And again, if you like all that mumbo jumbo, what I call mumbo jumbo stuff, this kind of very surface, somebody in an extremely tight leotard prancing around with some singing bowls and claiming that they're clearing your aura online and all that kind of stuff. Or, you know, they look like they're going out to a, you know, some swanky event somewhere with huge amounts of makeup and jewellery and everything on, and they're waving their hands in front of the screen telling you that they're clearing your aura and whatnot with Reiki. And there's a lot of it about. There is a lot of it about. And oh, by the way, you know, I sell these, you know, these products that can enhance your life, you know, and yeah, it's kind of interesting. Anyway, I'm getting deeper into the woods here, and it's also going to start getting rather noisy because of the location. So thank you very much for watching, and I'll see you again in another video soon.